Here to talk about the debt ceiling, what's going on in Washington, and then some, our Congressman Kurt Schrader. Congressman, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Carl, for having me.
Congressman, Moody's Investor Services yesterday placed our AAA bond rating, the U.S. government's AAA bond rating, on review for possible downgrade. I believe there's about $100 billion in Treasury bonds coming due August 4th. If those bonds are downgraded, investors are less likely to buy them. The government has to pay higher interest rates. Higher interest rates will be passed on to consumers for cars and homes and everything else, let alone who are we going to pay after August 2nd. This is serious.
Very, very serious. I think you just outlined it very, very well. The only thing I'd add is that we have no idea who we're going to stop paying. Does that mean Social Security checks get cut back or delayed, Medicare payments, veterans benefits, all these critical things that people count on that apparently no one thinks is important these days on the other side of the aisle.
Well,
so it's very scary.
At least Mitch McConnell recognizes and puts the lie to what so many really extreme members of the Republican caucus have been saying, that it's no big deal if we don't raise the debt limit. I think Mitch McConnell knows, but it seems to be, and you're right there from what you can glean, it seems to be John Boehner, conventional wisdom, would be interested in cutting a deal, but Eric Cantor, there's a civil war going on here. He won't do it.
Yep. You've hit the nail on the head. I saw the speaker yesterday. We're on the floor together, and I indicated to John that we've got some Democrats that are willing to look at the big picture, just like the president does, to make sure we have a good, solid Social Security, Medicare system going forward. And you got people interested in cutting out all these special interest tax breaks and reducing rates, and actually helping put money in the table and actually buy down our debt. And he kind of said, "Yep, he's still there."
Yeah.
But it's Cantor that's stabbing him in the back.
Right.
How would you like to have a second in command like that just wants to be in leadership, doesn't care about the country, and doesn't care about you?
Well, we quoted his high school. I don't know if you've seen that, but his quote in his high school yearbook, Eric Cantor, he graduated from the private collegiate school in New York City in 1981. In the yearbook, The Torch, his quote was, "I want what I want when I want it." So that was Eric Cantor in 1981.
Great public servant attitude.
Yeah, that was in a Richmond newspaper, verified, and the DNC is setting it out. Well, Boehner says he can't. The speaker says he can't count on 60 members of his own caucus to vote on anything to raise the debt ceiling. So he's going to have some Democratic support. And I will add to that any fair-minded person, including Republicans Alan Simpson, Pete Domenici, Alan Greenspan, even Bill O'Reilly, know that we need revenue increases. We need at least $1 revenue for $2 in spending cuts, right?
Well, I think that's reasonable. To make the cut, here's the perspective. Just to get past this 2011 budget that was a bipartisan budget, the Boehner, Cantor, McCarthy, all those guys voted for, would require us to without raising the debt ceiling, to get the job done here in the next 2 months, it would require us to eliminate all of the domestic spending, all of the defense spending, or take 40% reductions in Social Security and Medicare. So you can't do it with just the spending reductions unless you want to face your seniors like that.
Right. It's just unbelievable. And what's really sad here, I think, and we're talking to Congressman Kurt Schrader, and I heard Senator Claire McCaskill say this morning on MSNBC. She said when she saw that Republicans wouldn't even go for ending these subsidies to big oil, these companies, the 5 big fossil fuel companies that are making, anywhere from $12 to $20 billion profit a year. When they wouldn't take the low-hanging fruit, she got scared right away. These should be no-brainers, closing these loopholes and ending the subsidies.
Well, you're right. I think most Americans understand that there's way too much in special interest money and special interest tax breaks out there, and that's why I've offered up an amendment to kind of get us back to reasonable spending levels, limit campaign contributions and expenditures so that money doesn't equal free speech. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we're protecting these tax breaks for special interests and keeping our taxes high where we could put more money on the table just by reducing and eliminating most all these stupid tax breaks.
Right. Oregon Congressman Kurt Schrader. Congressman, I want to repeat what you just said because I think you've introduced this before after the egregious Citizens United decision, the 5-4 Supreme Court decision, which, says money is speech and corporations are people. I mean, the distortion in the political process where, the haves who have the money to buy the lobbyists and buy the influence get immediate advantage over those who don't is really the larger frame of what's going on here. That's why we end up with these large deficits.
Well, it really is. It really is, Carl. It's very sad that we've got a point in our country where the Supreme Court, which is nothing more at this point than just another political group of folks with black robes on, has overturned over 20 or 30 years worth of campaign finance reform legislation. I introduced it last time, and people, it's not that bad, Kurt. Well, I tell you, I had $1 million thrown at me in my campaign from some unknown American Action Network. No, you didn't know who they were, where they were from, where they were getting the money from. No disclosure at all, which is a hallmark of American politics. And I'm trying to build an army. I'm trying to build an army of indignant Americans that want to change this Constitution, get it back to what it was, where every man, every woman's vote counted. So you can go to KurtSchrader.com and sign up to be part of our army, dog.
Well, I think it's the most important thing. And the day I came on the air here 5 years ago, or almost 5 years ago, I said getting this money out of the process. And you are introducing another amendment. And I'll tell you something, Congressman Schrader. I believe that there are some Tea Party members who would agree with you on this. I think we can get there.
Yes. No, they're on top of that, actually, I think, in some respects. They understand that the corrupting influence of too much money in politics, where people through lots of spending can, maybe on purpose, sometimes gently influence legislation. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be where everyone has a fair shake at your congressman or your senator. The influence should be level across the board. The guy who's trying to work hard to keep his job, keep his house, pay his taxes should have the same right as the multi-billionaire CEO or some big union. It shouldn't be where one outfit has any advantage over the other. That's just wrong. We've got to get back to America's roots.
I was reading a biography of Abraham Lincoln recently, and what you just said right there was what Lincoln believed. That's what he believed. He came from that kind of background and saw America as a chance where everyone had the equal chance. And that has been so distorted now that we have a government that does not work. Congratulations for reintroducing this. And again, the website, Congressman?
KurtSchrader.com. I
Easy.
want folks to sign up, KurtSchrader.com.
Easy. Keep up the battle. Loved having you on, sir.